Virtual roundtables are cost effective and they're great for building relationships with senior decision makers. With the right plan and with the right setup, they will generate tremendous value for your company. So in this video, I will guide you through the steps you need to take to set up a perfect virtual roundtable. Hey, this is Ricky, founder of Markletic, and if you like B2B marketing videos, consider subscribing to this channel and liking this video. Recently I made a video about virtual events and how you can set them up effectively and successfully. And that video got quite a bit of traction, so it gave me the inspiration to make this video. Because virtual roundtables are really a form of a virtual event. And by the way, I'll leave a link to that other video down in the description so you can set up your virtual event successfully. But virtual roundtable discussions, they can generate a lot of value for your company. And quite honestly, they're easy to set up. You just need a good microphone, you need some good software, like Zoom for example, Microsoft Teams. And that's all you need to set up a good virtual event in terms of technical equipment. But the more difficult part is actually getting the audience there. Because when you're going to host a virtual roundtable discussion, you're probably aiming at senior decision makers, right? Or C-level even. And it's quite hard to reach those people. They have busy agendas and you really need to generate a lot of value for them and able to communicate that this roundtable will deliver that value for them, and otherwise they're not going to show up. Actually, research by Gartner shows that 27% of the full buying process is spent on online research. As you can imagine, the information on the internet is ever increasing in a way that is actually quite overwhelming. So senior decision makers and senior buyers, they value talking to people at the same level to brainstorm about ideas and solutions to their business problems. A virtual roundtable discussion is of course an excellent way to facilitate this. If you can bring the relevant people in the same industry together, it will generate a lot of value for your audience, and this way they're more likely to attend. And actually, they'll walk away with something that's valuable. So before moving forward in this video, I really want to emphasize that you need to put your audience needs first. If you're going to host a successful roundtable discussion, you need to generate value for your audience. And this should be part of your plan from the beginning. How are you going to create value for them? If you don't do this, forget about a successful roundtable discussion because it's not going to happen. So let's dive into the steps that you need to follow to set up a successful roundtable discussion. I'll actually leave timestamps down in the description for easy navigation. So the first step is defining the objectives for your audience and for your company. Of course, you're going to host a roundtable discussion because you have business needs, right? You want to generate revenue. That's the most prominent reason to set up a virtual roundtable discussion, because you need to generate leads for sales. You want to open doors for sales, and virtual roundtables is a great way to do this. So, of course, you need to define your company objectives. This is very important. But like I said before, it's also extremely important to define the objectives for the audience. Because if you know what the audience is going to walk away with from your virtual roundtable discussion, you can use this message and market to them, right? You can attract your audience with this message. And you can only attract senior level people when you have a really clear message about the value that you're going to generate for them in this discussion. So when defining your company objectives, think of questions such as, how many registrations do I need to meet my target attendance goal? With every event there's going to be a no-show rate, so consider a no-show rate of about 20 to 30%. But probably with a virtual roundtable discussion it's going to be a little bit lower, but rather be on the safe side than sorry. You also need to define objectives of how you're going to make it an interactive session. How are you going to engage the audience? What metrics do we need in order to call this roundtable discussion a success? And of course, what is a relevant topic that my audience wants to talk about? What's relevant in the market now and what's relevant to their business problems? So actually, the second step in the phase of planning a virtual roundtable discussion is selecting the right topic. And this can be quite challenging because you need to understand what the current market is after, what's playing in the market, what are the business problems in the market for your target audience. So a great way to find or discover a topic is to talk to your sales, because they're always in the market, they're talking to your prospects at that level. So with their daily conversations, they can get input from the market, so you can decide on a roundtable topic. Of course, when you're going to set up a roundtable discussion, you need to invite the right audience relevant to your topic. So if you have a topic about healthcare, it doesn't make sense to invite C-level people from finance, for example, from the financial market. So this is something to take into consideration. So after selecting a topic for your virtual roundtable discussion, get it validated by sales and get it validated by management. And maybe some senior executives at your own company, because maybe they're at the same level and they can resonate with your topic. So always get it validated before proceeding further. So the third step is defining the right format for your virtual roundtable discussion. If you're going to have a virtual roundtable discussion of, let's say, 3 hours, then you can forget it. No one is going to show up. So actually the format of your virtual roundtable discussion is very important. So my personal recommendation and the formats that I have used in the past that drove success is between 60 to 90 minutes. The first 10 minutes should be about the introduction and the current sketch of the situation. So let's say you have a very specific topic about the healthcare market. Then in the first 10 minutes of the roundtable discussion, you're going to introduce that topic, maybe show a video and get everything rolling. So the next 40 minutes will be interactive discussions. So actually, you're going to have a few statements, maybe you're going to have some polling questions, but really it has to be interactive. You need to talk about the business problems and maybe incentivize some solutions to that problem. The last 10 minutes will be the wrap-up and the call to actions. Of course, your event will have call to actions because this is not your last touch. You want to keep the ball going and rolling, and you want to do more activities. So maybe you want to influence the influencers of the purchasing decision, and maybe you want to schedule a follow-up meeting. So this is an excellent time to do that. So of course, with defining the format, you also need to select the right hosting platform. You need to select the right technology. So which tool are you going to use in order to facilitate this roundtable discussion? So I personally use Zoom a lot. I've used Microsoft Teams, but also WebEx works well. You can even use Google Meet. So there's a bunch of tools that you can use in order to facilitate this roundtable discussion. But also your speakers, they need to have a very good microphone. If you have a low quality microphone, it's not going to work. So I'll leave a recommendation down in the description for a microphone that I've used that's really high quality, it's not too pricey and it works well. So the fourth step is inviting key partners and customers. So this has a couple of benefits. First, let's focus on a partner. So if you do an event together with a partner, of course you can split the cost. Realistically, a virtual roundtable discussion is not going to be too costly, but anyway, you can split the cost. So you can do more in a year from your marketing budget, which is nice. Also, a partner usually has some domain experts, right? So if you're talking about a certain topic, let's say about healthcare, if you have a partner that's focused on the healthcare market, then you can invite someone from that partner, and that person can provide insights and expert insights into the topic that you're going to talk about. So this is very valuable. Also, when you're going to host a virtual roundtable discussion with a partner, then you're both responsible to drive about 50% of the traffic, so the registrations and the audience. So this means that effectively it will be easier to fill the roundtable discussion with the right people. And when we look at customers, they are your most powerful marketing tool. When you have a happy customer that's relevant to the topic that you're going to talk about, and that customer can provide insights on how they have used your solutions to solve this business case, then this will be incredibly valuable and they'll speak much louder than your marketing tools or your sales tools. So always invite a happy customer to your roundtable discussions. Also, if a big name customer attends the roundtable discussion, then it will be easier for your sales team and for your marketing team to drive traffic to your roundtable discussion. So to drive registrations and to drive attendees at the end of the day. So the fifth step is actually to make an engagement plan for your virtual roundtable discussions. So C-level people are used to a lot, and you don't want them to just attend your virtual roundtable discussion and forget about it at the end of the day. You need to do something extra. You need to go the extra mile to make the virtual roundtable discussion a memorable experience. So how are you going to do this? Of course, you can do the basic stuff such as pre-event polling and in-event polling. With pre-event polling, you can ask some questions about, why are they attending your virtual roundtable discussion? What do they want to get out of it? And with in-event polling, you can actually make it interactive and come up with some good points for discussion. But these are just the basic things that you can do, right? So the polling is just very basic. What else are you going to do to make it a great experience? Well, maybe your roundtable discussion is during lunch, so you can send all the attendees lunch. or you know, you can send them some merchandise, or maybe you can send them a very nice bottle of wine and champagne. So at the end of the roundtable discussion, you all cheers and celebrate that you came up with some good ideas to solve certain business cases. There are many things that you can do to just elevate and lift up that level of engagement a little bit. So really spend some time on creating an engagement plan and really going that extra mile and deliver a great experience for your audience. The sixth step is to consider an independent moderator for your virtual roundtable discussion. Of course, you have your senior level executives at your own company that can maybe moderate the discussion, but it's more powerful if you get an independent moderator, right? An industry expert, someone who has a lot of knowledge about the subject that you're going to discuss at the roundtable discussion. Of course, when you have this, you can also communicate this to the C-level people that you're trying to get to attend your event, and this will generate more value for them. If it's a respectable moderator, they will know that they're going to get a lot of value from your event. So they'll be more likely to make time available in their busy schedules to attend your virtual roundtable discussions. And this is a win-win, of course. And to be honest, an independent moderator for an hour and maybe some prep time is not too expensive. So the seventh step, and one of the most important steps, is to develop an excellent follow-up plan. So how are you going to make this event successful after the fact, right? So it should be your goal to at least have a follow-up meeting with everyone that's attending your virtual roundtable discussion, right? So you should also talk to your sales managers and sales directors to agree on this, right? So when you make a follow-up plan, get your plan approved by sales, because they need to be doing the follow-ups, right? It doesn't help to send an email campaign to senior level people. You really need to call them. It needs to be a personal experience, and this is important. A proven marketing and sales strategy is the so-called top-down, bottom-up approach. So the virtual roundtable discussion will focus at executive level people. So that's the top-down part. But of course, every buying cycle also has influencers, and this is the bottom-up approach, right? So how are you going to influence the buying influencers at the end of the day? Well, at the end of the virtual event, you need to have a call to action to also influence the influencers of the buying process. So maybe this is another type of event, right? So your senior level people that are attending your roundtable discussion, they can invite their team to attend the other event. Or maybe it's like a trial with your platform. It can be anything. But you need to have a top-down approach, which is the virtual roundtable discussion, and a bottom-up approach, which is a tool that you're going to use or a call to action that you're going to use to influence people that influence the buying cycle. And the last step, of course, is to collect feedback, adjust the program that you're doing, and repeat. Because a virtual roundtable discussion is something that you can set up many times in a quarter, right? It doesn't require that much prep work. Basically, when you have the idea and you got it validated by your sales and partners and maybe a customer, you can get it live in about 4 weeks, right? Considering the promotion period, which will take about 3 weeks. It must be considered that C-level people are very busy, right? They have tight schedules. So really allow 3 to 4 weeks for the promotion at least. There's of course a couple of ways in which you can collect feedback. One is by a survey, but another way is for sales to call these people and actually collect the feedback. So at the end of the virtual roundtable discussion, you can actually let everyone know that we will be reaching out to collect feedback to make it a better experience. So the good news is that then your sales team can actually call this person and collect the feedback. So this is a couple of benefits. Of course, the first benefit is that your sales is in direct contact with these C-level people, so they can collect the feedback, but they can also schedule the follow-up meeting straight away. So there's of course a couple of strategies that you can use to generate more return of investment from your events. And actually I've written an article about this, so I'll leave a link down in the description on how you can generate more return of investment for any type of B2B event. So when you learn how to host a virtual roundtable discussion effectively, you can generate a lot of business value. But you have to keep your audience in mind. How are you going to generate value for them? If you do this, I'm sure you'll be successful in setting up your virtual roundtable discussion. So that wraps up this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, consider liking this video and subscribing to this channel, and I'll see you next time.